Arsenal won the Premier League for the first time in over 20 years last season. The same Arsenal, aka the Gunners, lost the Champions League final last season to Paris Saint-Germain. They lost it because they ran out of legs and out of control. So in a response, what has their coach Mikel Arteta done? Mikel Arteta has just dropped £75 million to steal Newcastle United's captain and Brazilian international Bruno Guimarães. This has suddenly turned Arsenal's midfield into an absolute brick wall. This is a midfield that already has Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi, Martin Odegaard, Miles Kelly. Then add Bruno Guimarães to the mix, and you have, if not the best midfield in the Premier League at the moment. At 29 in his prime, if you add Guimarães to that mix, then definitely Arsenal has the best midfield in the whole of the Premier League. Is Bruno Guimarães the missing piece that guarantees that Arsenal finally win the Champions League for their first time, or for the first time in their career? We don't know. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to the Football Hot Mic. I'm Chika and I'm your host for today. Be an evangelist for me, be an ambassador for me. Tell people about this podcast. We don't break the news for you, we analyze it, we give you in-depth analysis, we give you the facts, we break it down for you, we give you the statistics, and we tell you how each team plays, the tactical breakdown. We don't just give you the news, we end up making you understand the game better and developing your knowledge of the game. So don't just watch us, share this page, like it, comment, and then drop whatever you want us to do, or whichever topic you want us to cover. Now let's go. Last season, Bruno Guimarães made 12 passes under high pressure per 90 minutes. 12 passes under pressure per 90 minutes. And this metric ranks him among the elite passers throughout the entire European game last season. I said the European game, I didn't say the Premier League. 12 high pressure passes per 90 minutes. That is so much. That is so many. The Brazilian's bravery on the ball in tight spaces is admirable. He can also keep possession, and at the same time he possesses great awareness that makes him stand out. One thing about him is it's difficult to even say what is he or which position does he play best. Guimarães is so good that you just have to call him a central midfielder. You can't call him an attacking midfielder, you can't call him a defensive midfielder, because he can play both positions excellently, extremely well. If you already have Declan Rice, who can also play both positions, and you add Guimarães to that team again, we are talking about the best midfield. I think can say it might be one of the best midfield in Europe. It can rival that of PSG, because not only does he have the defensive technicalities, he can also flourish offensively. He scores beautiful goals, he can shoot, he can create chances, and he can dribble. He's extremely good, Bruno Guimarães, when keeping the ball in possession or under pressure. We're talking about making 12 key passes under pressure, which is one of the best in Europe last season. The second one, no player in Eddie Howe's Newcastle team made more line-breaking passes per 90 in the Premier League. No player. He made 16.2 line-breaking key passes per 90 minutes last season. 16.2. In Newcastle, the other 4 players who were also in the top mix were all defenders. You have 5 players in the top mix. He was the one. He was the best. Bruno Guimarães, he was the best. The other 4 players are defenders who tend to have more space and pitch to pass into. I'm talking about line-breaking passes per 90. He had 16.2. Now, for you to understand how good 16.2 key passes per 90 is, let's compare him with Sandro Tonali, his other midfielder, his fellow midfielder in Newcastle United. Sandro Tonali ranked amongst the top 10 in Newcastle United for line-breaking passes. And Sandro Tonali made only 10.9 passes, line-breaking passes per 90. Bruno Guimarães made 16.2. Tonali made 10.9. So this is to tell you that Tonali is almost, or Guimarães is almost making double the amount of key line-breaking passes Tonali is making. Defensively, he's extremely solid as regards sniffing out the ball, tackling, repossessing, positioning. Offensively, he's even better. So in order for you to really appreciate Guimarães, when you compare the line-breaking passes he did or he created last season with his defensive partner, Sandro Tonali, you realize who went for more than 75 million. You realize that Guimarães had a better record. So this shows just how uniquely talented Guimarães is when it comes to breaking down defenses who sit deep. So first of all, we talked about passes under high pressure. He made 12. Bruno Guimarães made 12 of that in 90 minutes. Then we're talking about line-breaking passes. He made 16.2 of that, which is the most in Newcastle United. and which is almost double what his defensive partner Tonali did. Now, what's the third one? Mikel Moreno, Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Max Kelly, and now Guimarães. Arsenal seems to have the best set of central midfielders going into next season in the Premier League. You heard the names I called? Let me repeat: Mikel Merino, Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard, and then Luis Kelly. Arsenal seems to have the best midfielders, central midfielders. If you add Bruno Guimarães to it, going into next season, these players are extremely talented. They are press resistance, they are quick, they are physical, they're tactically sound, and they are technically gifted. Arsenal is miles ahead of every other Premier League team in the area of central midfield, going by talent, productivity, and sheer volume of depth. Only 3 players in this list will end up playing. The rest will sit on the bench. Only 3 of them is going to end up playing. Only 3. So that means you have depth, which so many teams don't have. So many teams can have the best teams to start, but it now boils down to substitution. Are you replacing quality with quality? But with this list, we've not talked about Kai Havertz. It depends on what you grade him or how you grade him. Is he a striker or a central midfielder? It's been a long time he played in central midfield, so you might have to classify him as a striker. So when you watch Guimarães play, he's one of the most effective tacklers in the Premier League. He has the tenacity to tackle. He has the never say die ability to tackle. He's never scared of fighting for the ball. He is in his prime, 29, in his prime. Plug and play. You can only compare this signing to Michael Essien signing when Chelsea did the signing. You can only compare Bruno Guimarães signing. I'm not saying Bruno Guimarães is as good as Michael Essien. Back then, when Chelsea won the Premier League title under Jose Mourinho, their first Premier League title in 2024, Chelsea had Thiago Mendes, and then they had Frank Lampard, and they also had Makalele. These are 3 good players in central midfield. One of the best at the time in central midfield. What did Chelsea do? Chelsea went and got Michael Essien. People didn't understand what they were doing. Michael Essien was way more improvement, was a way better player than Thiago Mendes. Even though Thiago Mendes was already good enough, it was a massive upgrade, and that Chelsea became invariably better than every other team. You have a team that has Zubimendi and Declan Rice, and you add Guimarães to that. Imagine it's playing 2 in central midfield where you have Declan Rice and Guimarães. That's a very solid team. Guimarães is also a leader. He captained Newcastle United last season, and he's in prime at 29. Combine that with his defensive edge and his direct goal threat, coming off a campaign where he chipped in 9 goals, scored 9 goals and 5 assists in 29 Premier League games. 9 is massive for a Premier League midfielder. Massive. 9. That is almost double digits. That is all. He scored 9 goals and chipped in 5 assists. That is 14 goal contributions. That is massive for somebody who plays in central midfield. And this is somebody who has one of the best defensive records in the Premier League. So Arsenal they are buying a solid player already who is not going to spend any time getting used to the environment. Solidly going to start in Arsenal. Now imagine alternating him between him and Zubimendi, and also having Mikel Merino come in when necessary. Is it ball progression? You watch him at the World Cup. He was one of the best players for Brazil, even though Brazil didn't have a very good tournament. You couldn't say he had a bad tournament, even though the country or the team as a whole didn't do well. For more than 4 years now, Bruno Guimarães has been consistently one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. You talk about Declan Rice, talk about Caicedo. The next player you talk about in central midfield is Bruno Guimarães. So right now in the Premier League, and also you talk about Rodri, who has been extremely good, but who has been injured, but who had an amazing World Cup. So you talk about Rodri, talk about Caicedo, talk about Declan Rice, talk about Guimarães. So you have 4 best central midfielders in the Premier League, and 2 of them are playing the same team. I said 9 goals and 5 assists in 29 games for a Newcastle team that is less talented, both technically and tactically. So what will be his numbers in Arsenal? We have a better striker. Last season Newcastle didn't have the best of strikers because Alexander Isak wasn't in the team. Wissa didn't really perform, and Voltemada was blowing hot and cold. In an Arsenal team where you have Newcastle up front, you have Saka on the right. So what do you expect? You expect better numbers. So right now you can only compare this signing to that of Michael Essien. I'm not saying they're the same level of players. No, I'm saying given where the team is, Arsenal already won a Premier League trophy. Chelsea won a Premier League trophy when they signed Essien in 2015. Arsenal has already won the trophy. Chelsea already won the trophy. Chelsea already had good players on their books. Arsenal already has, and you now bring in Guimarães to fortify the team. This is a recipe for only success. Now, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Football Radiance, does the signing of Bruno Guimarães make Arsenal exponentially and completely untouchable? Or is £75 million too big or too massive to sign Bruno Guimarães at 29 with no resale value? Is he the right signing for Arsenal? Or should Arsenal have prioritized a left-sided attacking attacker rather than signing Bruno Guimarães? Now, all this are for you to answer. Hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and then don't forget to be an evangelist for me. Tell people about my page, tell people about my podcast, share it. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks. Peace.